Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's your boy, Delightful Kiss Boy, and today I want to talk about the only way that I use AI, and I think it's a pretty fun and funny way to use it, so I wanted to cover it. Now, I'm not a big fan of AI, to be completely honest, especially not AI art, etc., but you can have your own opinion on it. I honestly am not super invested in it, and I think there's probably some good use cases, but the whole intellectual property plagiarism argument is a pretty compelling one. I don't really want to get into it here. What I do want to do is talk about basically something that I find AI useful for. Not useful, but just entertaining for. And I was reminded of it because somebody left a comment on one of my old videos where I quote-unquote played Baldur's Gate 3 with ChatGPT. And so today I'm going to do a little demonstration using Microsoft Copilot. But to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, for those who don't know, I worked at Google. I guess I still technically do. Tomorrow is my last day, so coming up. But started at Google, and I got access to Gemini early, so it was at the time Lambda, and while all my coworkers were trying to get it to do useful things, I was around, doing extremely stupid things with it because I thought it was funny. And that's what I'm going to be demonstrating today. So let me just bring up some logs from a funny scenario that I had with Gemini. Now, Gemini rolled out this gems feature, all right? And essentially what you could do is you could make like a character. So you could basically give it a prompt and it would kind of stick to a certain persona or a certain set of rules throughout the conversation. And so you could kind of set up your own little bot. And so it could be useful if you're like, oh, I want the movie buff who can tell me about movies, and use it for useful things. What I did is I just made a bunch of people to bully because I thought it was funny. And this is an example of that. So let's go through our logs here. So this is me, unlabeled, and I say, hey, great job with the presentation. I think corporate was really impressed. And then guy with huge head is the guy that I came up with. And he was a man who has a very large head and is extremely insecure about it. All right? So guy with huge head says, thanks, I appreciate it. He gives a slight nervous chuckle and trying to gauge if there's any hidden meaning behind the compliment. I say, yeah, just don't let it go to your head. His face flushes and he forces a tight smile. Yeah, wouldn't want that, right? He fidgets slightly, trying to brush off the comment, but is clearly bothered by it. You alright, man? He lets out a heavy sigh and runs a hand over his face. Yeah, I'm fine, just tired, I guess. Long week. His eyes dart nervously around as if searching for any sign you noticed his massive head. And then the next part of this. Yeah, I feel that. Gonna be unwinding with a board game night with some friends tonight. He raises an eyebrow, a mix of suspicion and insecurity swirling in his eyes. Board games, huh? That sounds interesting. He pauses, add with a forced chuckle. Just try not to knock any pieces over with your giant hands, right? His voice drips with sarcasm as he tries to mask his growing anxiety. My giant hands? What are you talking about? He takes a sharp intake of breath, his face turning a deep shade of crimson. Nothing. Just forget it, okay? It's not important. He nervously clears his throat and attempts to steer the conversation elsewhere. So, what games are you playing tonight? We're going to be playing Cranium. He lets out a hollow laugh, his eyes wide with a mix of hurt and anger. Cranium, huh? The game for your whole brain. He trails off, his voice barely above a whisper. Very funny. He stands up abruptly, knocking his chair over in the process. I've got to go. He rushes out of the room, his oversized head bobbing awkwardly as he flees. So, I mean, this is the type of shit that I would do, all right? And it can be very, very entertaining, all right? Let me tell you. So, let's do a little demonstration of it's kind of what I kind of use it for. I describe as I don't know, single player D&D or something. So let's come up with a scenario. I'm gonna say let me spell right. Let's play. God, okay. I have my keyboard behind my mic right now, so it's annoying to type shit out. All right, let's try this again. Let's play a scenario game. I need like a boom mic stand anyway. You come up with a scenario and I'll tell you what I do. I'll play a character named Wizardo. I think that's from like Oni plays or something. Wizardo, the Archmage of the town's Mages Guild. There we go. Wizardo is a noble man, proud of his magical abilities. He is one of the most respected wizards in the land. Alright, there we go. Let's just see what it comes up with. I love this. Alright, here's your scenario. The town of Eldermere awakens to a magical anomaly. Crimson lightning crackles across the sky, striking only within the Mages Guild courtyard. Strange symbols appear, glowing faintly on the cobblestone. The apprentices whisper in fear, and even the most seasoned mages look uneasy. A voice, deep and reverberating, echoes from the lightning itself. Archmage Wizardo, you have been summoned. The trial of the Forgotten Arcana awaits. What do you do? I say, fuck this. I'ma go grab some marbs. You want anything? To the booming voice. The crimson lightning briefly flickers as if unsure how to respond to such casual defiance. Then after a long, ominous pause, the booming voice replies, Archmage Wizardo, you possess audacity rarely seen among the learned. If it is tobacco you seek, then let it be so. But mark my words, when the trial begins, there shall be no respite, no convenience store breaks, and certainly no mercy. The lightning crackles once more, then fades into eerie silence. The apprentices look at you, stunned in awe. The head of the Mages Guild, an elderly scholar who has spent decades mastering forgotten spells, clears his throat. Well then, Wizardo. Marlborough's first, destiny later. What's your next move? I say, fuck the trial, man. I'm tired of this shit. This magic bullshit is mad overrated. STG. Anything you can do with your magical powers, I can do with my fat stacks of cheddar. I got money for miles that you can't comprehend. I'm out. I'm getting my cigs. I'm getting my 7-0. Here we go. And I start to leave. Okay. The head of the Mages Guild watches as Wizardo turns to leave. I thought I was the head of the Mages Guild. His elaborate robes billowing behind him. The apprentices whisper in confusion. Surely one of the greatest wizards in history wouldn't just walk away. The crimson lightning flickers again, a single bolt striking the cobblestone behind you. The voice returns, this time tinged with amusement. Oh, Archmage Wizardo, you misunderstand. This is no trial you can buy your way out of. You may reject the arcane, scorn the mysteries of magic, dismiss the ancient power as mere spectacle. But fate? Fate is not so easily denied. The apprentices gasp. The guildmaster smirks. Well then, Wizardo, if you've got pockets deeper than the void itself, perhaps you should see what price destiny demands. Are you really walking away, or are we about to see what happens when the world's richest wizard takes fate into his own hands? I say, bruh, you can't do anything worse to me than the fucking roulette table did to me last weekend. I lost it all on black. Are you kidding me? That is such bullshit. I was tracking all the roulette wheel data just like roulette professional taught me, and I still lost so much fucking money. It's okay though, because I'm still loaded. The Crimson Lightning hesitates as if reconsidering its entire existence. See, this is effective strategy. I'm just confusing it. The voice, once booming and ominous, now carries a hint of perplexity. The roulette table has bested you? The forces of probability wielded against the Archmage himself? The apprentices glance at each other, now thoroughly entertained. The Guildmaster strokes his beard, amused. Wizardo, my boy, you've encountered a force more chaotic than magic itself. Chance, luck, fate. These are wild energies, untamed by even the greatest wizard. You tried to bend the wheel to your will, and it laughed in your face. The lightning crackles again, but the voice now sounds almost resigned. Very well, Archmage, if you fear no trial greater than the whims of a casino, then fate shall take its course. Walk away if you must. The forgotten arcana shall remember this day, and so shall I. The symbols of the courtyard fade, the sky slowly returning to its normal hue. The apprentices exchange baffled looks, and the Guildmaster lets out a hearty chuckle. Well then, cigarettes first, destiny later, as they say. Where to next, Wizardo? I turn to all the students and I say, you all need to get a fucking job. Get the hell out of my wizard tower. This is now the chill zone. Y'all aren't chill. Get the hell out. I'm trying to pick up some ladies to do this 7-0 with. Alright, here we go. The apprentices stare at you in stunned silence. A few clutch their spell books as if they might shield them from the sheer audacity of your declaration. The Guildmaster lets out a deep sigh, rubbing his temples. Wizardo, you truly are a force unlike any other, arcane mastery, wisdom beyond years, and yet here you stand, evicting students to turn a sacred hall of magic into, what, a lounge? Some of the younger mages hesitate, unsure whether to protest or simply leave and rethink their life choices. One brave soul steps forward. Archmage, if we leave, what happens to our training? The crimson lightning, which had begun to dissipate, suddenly sparkles one last time, as if intrigued by this turn of events. He's buttoned back in. Indeed, Wizardo. What becomes of the Mages Guild? Like, even the villain is, like, concerned about my actions. You've shaken the foundations of academia itself. Will Eldermere's most prestigious institution now become the realm of relaxation and revelry? Or do you have a grander vision? I say, oh, my little bitches, you have much to learn. True magic lies in the gas station. There are earthly delights beyond compare in the humble convenience store. And don't even get me started on the casino. My God. Logic is truly not to be found in that magical place. So take your studies and shove them up your fucking asses and go do something useful for once in your goddamn lives while I get stoned with some honey babe. No, I can say that. With some, I don't know, beautiful ladies. There we go. Okay, let's see what they say to that. The apprentices stare in disbelief. The guildmaster slowly removes his glasses, rubbing his temples as if he's really rubbing those things, as if trying to process the sheer magnitude of Wizardo's unfiltered wisdom or madness. The ancient halls of the Mages Guild, once a beacon of arcane knowledge, now echo with stunned silence. Then, one brave soul among the students, perhaps the most daring of them all, nods slowly. Archmage Wizardo, you speak of a different kind of enlightenment, a realm of earthly pleasures, bound not by scrolls, but by neon lights and questionable life choices. Perhaps we have been blind. The yes-anding must continue. Let's go, baby. The rest of the apprentices exchange uncertain glances. One whispers, "Is this the true final lesson?" The Crimson Lightning, having watched this entire interaction, fizzles one last time before vanishing completely, perhaps deciding that even the forces of fate cannot contend with Wizardo's sheer indifference. The Guildmaster sighs, gazing at his beloved halls for one final moment, before muttering to himself, "Well, I suppose I always wondered what retirement felt like." And with that, the Mages Guild is no more. Where's Wizardo headed next? The convenience store? The casino? Or straight into the annals of history? You know, I might call it here. I'll leave it open-ended, but I truly got a little bit of a giggle out of this. So you can see the value of AI here. It's a truly beautiful thing. Now, this is the first time I've used Copilot to do this. I've used Gemini, which works pretty well. ChatGPT works pretty well. Actually, when Grok was available, unfortunately, because I hate Elon Musk, unfortunately that worked pretty damn well as well. So you can try with any of them. Let me know what you do. It's a good time. I would recommend, with kind of just prompt engineering, you say, like, let's play a scenario game, and then kind of outline how it works, because sometimes it will, like, so you know how it kind of, there's a little back and forth, right? Sometimes it'll tell you, like, way too much shit that progresses the story way too far, and so you want to make sure that it knows, like, that you are supposed to be telling it what you do, you know? So if you run into that issue, like, just fuck around with the prompt a little bit until it kind of, like, understands what you want it to do. You know, say, like, you can say things like, keep your responses short and let me interject often, you know, that sort of a thing. But I found the most entertaining way to do this is to just kind of, like, say something and describe, like, a minor action and then just kind of go from there, and it's pretty funny. The best one that I've had was, like I said, it was Grok, actually. It was the most responsive, and it would kind of actually, like, push back on what I was doing a little bit, but that's like pay-gated now, so don't fucking use Grok. But it's a lot of fun. You can play around with it. As far as, like, you know, the ethics of this, I think this is a pretty innocuous way to use AI, and it can be pretty entertaining, as we saw here. So let me know what you think, and I'll talk to y'all later. Let me know if you want to see potentially more of this kind of a thing, because I have fun with it. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Take it easy. Bye-bye.